How you doing, YouTube? It's Will from Middle Development. This is my 321st weekly update. Man, getting up there in numbers. Doing this a very long time at this point. It's starting to get like, wow, how long I've actually been doing these videos. But it's cool. I like it. Gives me something to do every Friday night. Keeps me out of trouble, right? Anyway, just gonna jump right into it. Actually, that's a lie. If you didn't see it, the footage from the Tampa Bay Strongman Classic is up. It dropped on Wednesday, I believe at 1 a.m. That's usually when I set my Wednesday videos to come out. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, you might want to check it out just to see my shame, I guess. But it's okay. I'm, 3 weeks out from it, coming up on a month out from it, and finally just about over it, in terms of, well, if I'm honest, hating myself for what happened. But training's been really good lately. This whole week was really good. Got some numbers I really wanted to get at certain things, and very excited to keep going. And you know, that's one of those things when you lose, it can either destroy you or give you something to feed off of, and I'm definitely, there's a new fire in me right now, because it's just, man, I should not have lost as hard as I did, and if I'd been stronger in this area or that area, it wouldn't have even been a question. And unfortunately I wasn't, and looking back, it's like, you know what? There were stones I left unturned, pun intended, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to leave anything on the table, you know, in terms of training. My nutrition's been on point, and as long as training keeps going this way, the way it's going, I'm going to be very happy with it, and that's exactly what I'm hoping continues to happen. I've got pretty decent programs sorted out here, and excuse me, been actually having some fun while training again. I did already sign up for another comp in February. This is going to be an all-stone comp. No idea what all the events are just yet, but that's part of the excitement. And because I know it's going to be stones, I mean, I'm Florida's stone man, so I can't lose that bad. Let's just put it that way. And, you know, there's certain levels of strength I know I should be at, and I'm not there, so I am working really hard to get there. And it's good. So this week, Monday, I believe I spoke about it last week, I wanted to start doing a lot more hypertrophy in terms of squats. Mostly for the fact that I just don't do a lot of volume on squats, and the reality is I probably should. I mean, having a 1 rep max on squats is not necessarily an impressive thing in the sport of strongman. You know, if you have a squat lift, it's usually for reps anyway. And so I figure if I can get used to doing sets of 12, working up to 20, or sets of 20 straight out with a particular weight, and that's just the normal for me, you know, when it comes time for a comp, if I'm not particularly prepared for a certain weight, I'll be prepared to sort of dial in the more, more intensity, and just cut back the volume a little bit when that time comes. And it's a good opportunity for a little bit of conditioning, because my God, when you're doing 20 squats, pretty much whatever the weight is, it's going to be a little bit of conditioning. And maybe not, you know, body weight or just a bar, but man, when you're 50% or more of your 1 rep doing sets of 20, it's conditioning at that point, just a little bit. Worst case, it's going to make it so my legs don't start to fill up and become unusable as quickly, which is definitely a weakness of mine when it comes to, say, pulling events or dragging events, I definitely have a weakness there. So this is another way for me to work on that. While still doing my squats, because squats are great. So I've been doing high bar, ass to grass, doing a sort of 20 rep squat scheme. I can't exactly remember who like pioneered it or championed that idea. I want to say, I don't even want to say because I can't remember exactly who it was, but it's nothing new. Really nothing ever is when it comes to training, but it's the idea is that you just pick a weight you can normally only do 10 with, and you do 20. And if you can only do, maybe you get to 13, and it's like, all right, this next rep's not going to happen. Rack it, take a couple of breaths, then go right back at it and do as many as you can. And so Monday, I believe I did 185, went up to a set of 12, took a quick breather. No, I think I only did 10, then I did 4, then I did 6. Once you get over that 12 number, the rest is kind of like, all right, I can do this sometimes. But that wasn't the only thing I did. I also, I worked up and I just did a single at 225 beltless just to do it, just to touch that heavier weight. Even though I am doing that hypertrophy sort of period, I'm still hitting the heavier numbers too when I can, just to sort of prove that I can and sort of keep the form as tight as possible, that sort of thing. Then the deadlifts, I think I just did a set of 3 at 365. And those felt pretty good. My legs were really jello-y. And I sort of anticipated that any of the first couple days doing that, it was going to be like, this is going to be really rough to deadlift after this. I mean, every time I would go down a position, my legs would just Bambi on ice. It was rough. And then Tuesday did some pressing, and I believe I spoke about that, where I was going to start incorporating a lot more jerks in, just like power jerks and things of that nature. Probably going to start doing cleans as well, just to work on my explosiveness, because that definitely needs work. And probably do it the fun way and just do it with a double axle overhand to work some grip too. And pressing went really good to an extent. I think I basically, the plan is do jerks until jerks don't work, then do push pressing, and then do some sets there at push pressing too. And when I say when the jerk doesn't work anymore, I mean when the form breaks down. Because if I'm not doing perfectly, I don't really want to do them. But because I'm not using them necessarily to increase my 1 rep max, I'm using them to increase my ability to drive the bar better in my push press. And that's the reason why I'm not doing split jerks. If I was going for max weight, I would probably start doing split jerks, which at some point in my career, or whatever you want to call it, I may start doing those. But the idea is that I'm using the jerks to work that real good explosion off the chest as quickly as possible with a particular weight. I think I worked up to 175 for sets of 2 on jerks. And I was doing 3 sets, I was planning, and then when I got to the 3rd set, the 2nd rep was turned into a push press, and I was like, okay, all right, that's enough. Then started push pressing, and I did 185 for 2, and I was like, man, that really didn't feel that bad. And so I said, I want to try to hit 200. I haven't hit it in, since the one time I hit it from the floor with an axle. And I said, all right, let me just go for it then. And I went for it once, and I missed it. My hands were a little wide, and I said, all right, bring the hands in a little bit more. And I said, and then go for it. And then I did it, and it just didn't necessarily shoot right up, but it just went here, and then just that lockout was pretty good. So felt good to hit 200 again. And the reality is I should be hitting that weight, not necessarily every week, but it should be a much more common weight for me to hit. 230 should be a number that 200 should feel like. So it's fine though. It just takes time. It's a weakness. I'm working on it. And my God, if you compare that to where I was just last year, I mean, it's good. It's definitely going in the right direction. Wednesday off. Thursday, squats again. Did my 20s with 195. Actually did 12 and then 8. with that one, so I'm getting better at it. Of course, that was rough. It was rough, but I got through it. I'm gonna continue to get through it, and then I actually worked up. I did 275 for 2, beltless, and then I said, all right, let me try 315, but not beltless. I'll throw a belt on for that. And I hit the 315 ass to grass, high bar, and it was a lot better than that one from a couple weeks ago where I was just like, whoa, almost died. It was a lot better. And so that's good. And I don't intend to do that sort of singles thing. I'll probably only do that maybe once a week after the sort of 20 rep set, or sets, plural, depends on how I feel that day. Doing more accessory stuff for my lower body too, for sure, especially in relation to squats, because it couldn't hurt. I don't think I'm doing too much right now. I don't think I'm even in the realm of accidentally doing too much there. And then tonight went really well on pressing. Jerks went up to sets of 4 at 175 or 180. No, 175. They weren't feeling as good, and I really only got like 1.5 sets, if you want to call it that. So then I started push pressing, and I did 185 for 2, and that felt really easy. And I said, okay, it didn't feel easy, but it felt good. And I said, all right, let me do 190, and let me just do a bunch of singles with this weight. Let me just, look back. And I was like, all right, what's the most amount I've ever done in a training session? 190, and it was like 2 reps or something like that. I said, all right, let me just do a bunch of singles until I can't. And I ended up getting up to 7 singles. A couple of them here and there were like, whew, that was close, but I got it. So that went really well tonight, and then a bunch of accessory work just to destroy my shoulders and triceps, and I really want to have better shoulders, just in general. You always look at the best pressers, and they have crazy traps and these cannonballs for shoulders, and the reality is I probably won't have those, but my God, I'm going to try. Doing a lot more bodybuilding is probably the way to look at it, especially with my accessories. I used to do my accessories a little bit heavier, sets of 6 or 8, and now I'm like, all right, pick those same weights and do 12. Even if you have to sort of not necessarily cheat a little bit, but even if you have to force it, let's do it. I'm a big fan of, for instance, single dumbbell pressing, and I'd pick a weight that normally I would only be able to do 6 with, and then when I would get to like 5, I'd just sort of do the lean over and almost do like a bent press. And it's like, look, I'm doing strongman. I mean, that sort of motion can only help me. I mean, when you look at how you do a circus dumbbell, you're over here and you're leaning and you're trying to catch it here really, and then stand up straight. It's one of those things. But definitely trying to elicit some hypertrophy, because I figure keep the heavy stuff for the main movements. And tomorrow I'm probably going to hit chest a little bit, because I don't feel like my chest really got beat up. Probably going to be like flies and stuff like that, just because my triceps are definitely a little worn. But we'll see what they can do. And in terms of grip training, talked about it last week, where basically my deadlifts, if I'm doing reps, I try to pull the first rep, just double overhand. I've worked up to 385 now, double overhand, which is pretty okay on a regular bar. Oh yeah, my deadlifts from yesterday. Yeah, I actually did 2 sets of 2 at 395, and they felt pretty damn good actually. And it was funny because I pulled the first one with hook grip. No, I started out with straps, and I was like, oh, these don't feel right now, And so then I just jumped in with hook grip, and I pulled a quick double, and I was like, cool. I was like, well, 3 reps doesn't make sense. Let me do 1 more just to do it. And then I said, let me do it with straps and just make sure I can do these still with straps, because the reality is if I'm allowed to use straps, I'm going to use straps. And I did, and it worked out great. So there it is. Sorry to ramble a little bit this video. I don't think anybody watches the whole thing anyway. And that's okay. I understand. But that's the week. Thank you for watching. Don't be afraid to think sometimes you're not doing enough, because if you feel like you aren't, you just might not be. And there's nothing wrong with doing a little bit more. Frank Zane used to... No, sorry. Tom Platz. He used to say 5 more reps. And he's got the best legs that ever existed, probably. So don't be afraid to do 5 more reps. And if you are, then what's your excuse?